maybe in Wednesday, could you do the 40 hadith of Nawawi? The 40 hadith of Nawawi, I think. Nawawi.
Let's see, inshallah.
Inshallah. Maybe like one hadith would be enough.
Inshallah. Yalla, let's start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We carry on with Kitab al-Zakah. Inshallah, today I want to take some revision. طيب, let's see who revised. Khaybar. When we first started with Zakah, we said in order for Zakah to be compulsory upon a person, how many conditions should they be?
There are 5 conditions. So one is you have to be a Muslim. The second one, there's a nisab, a threshold. Number 3, it should be from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Number 4, you shouldn't be a slave. Number 5,
so nisab,
you should own it fully. You should own it.
Yeah,
fully.
you should be under full ownership. طيب. What other masail did we take? Who was there? Naeem, tell us some of the masail that we've taken in zakah so far. We mentioned the conditions of nisab, the conditions of zakah. Then we said the Hanafis add another 2.
Yes, Sheikh.
Yeah, just 1 second, check. I'm just pulling it up. It's
No, you guys have to know this. You can't go through your books or notes now.
Sheikh. So there's 7. The 7 of them, or do you want the extra 2?
Yeah. So we've taken 5 already. Now give us 7. Give us the next 2.
7. So it's the age of puberty, and they have to be sane adults.
Ahsan, that's only in the Hanafi madhab, huh? So in the Hanafi madhab, if a child has $100 billion, there's no zakah on that money. Okay, like if he inherited, for example. Then we moved on to zakatu bahimatil an'am. Give us the overall conditions before we get into the bab. When we're speaking about bahimatul an'am, what are we speaking about, Ibrahim?
Speaking about yaks, and not yaks, domesticated buffalo and bulls, cows and bulls.
So camels, cows, and goats, or sheep. That's what we're speaking about. And we mentioned that there's conditions before we start looking at the thresholds and the zakah. We mentioned there's a few conditions that go through the whole, or that apply to all these 3 categories. What are they, Alam Gheer?
There are a few. For example, the cattle should be, if they're grazing on the natural land for over a half year, and they're producing milk for business, and then
not necessarily for business. The person is keeping them for milk and reproduction. We started with zakatul ibil. Give me as many thresholds as you can in order. Let's go. What was here? Omar, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Right, start.
So from 1 to 4, we give no zakah, and from 5 to 9, we give 1 sheep, and then 10 to 14, we give 2 sheep, and then 15 to 19, we give 3 sheep, and from 20 to 24, we give 4 sheep.
Ahsan. So here we're speaking about sheep. Now from 25, you start giving camels. Naeem.
Sheikh, from 25 to 35, you give 1 female camel between 1 to 2 years old.
Ahsan, what's the name of it? Bintu Makhad. Next.
Then the 36 to 45, 1 female camel, 2 years old, more than 2 years old.
More than 2 years old. Just 2, yeah. Carry on.
Bintu Laboon, and then 46 to 60, 1 female camel that is 3 years old, and that's Hiqqa, and then 61 to 75, and that's 1 female camel that is 4 years old, and that's Jaza.
Is there a difference when I say Jaza and Jadha? It's like in English, when you have a Z, that's za, and when you have THE, you say the.
Jaza.
جذاع. Just imagine you're saying ja, and then when somebody says in English, for example, they say the house. So you're saying ja, the, a. Again,
جذع.
ahsant. After that, Khaybar, carry on.
So after Jaza'a, you go Binta Labun. 76 to 90 camels. Binta Labun 2.
From how many to how many? I can't hear you.
76 to 90, you go Binta Labun.
And then
91 to 120, you go Hiqqatan.
Hiqqatan. And then
That's where I stopped.
that's where you stopped.
Yeah. That's nice.
طيب, Ibrahim, carry on.
From 130,
121.
121 to 145 is the two Jatha. I don't know the plural.
No, you never. You either never understand the question or you haven't been over it yet. You're the one who answered in the 2 lessons ago about you answered all these questions. Tayyib, Naeem, help him. Naeem.
Sheikh, it's from 121 to 124. It's Hiqqatan. Then from 125 to 129, it's Hiqqatan plus 1 shadh. Then 130 to 134, it's Hiqqatan plus 2 shadh. Then it's 135 to 139, Hiqqatan plus 3 shadh. Then 140 to 144, 2 Hiqqatan plus 4 shadh. Then 145 to 149, Hiqqatan plus bintu makhal.
Then 150, ثلاث حقاق. Till 154, it remains ثلاث حقاق. Then carry on from 155.
So from 155 to 159, 3 hiqqa plus 1 shadh. Then from 160 to 164, it's 3 hiqqa plus 2 shadh. Then 165 to 169, 3 hiqqa plus 3 shadh. Then 171 to 174, it's 3 hiqqa plus 4 shadh. Then 175 to 185, it's 3 hiqqa plus bintu makhad. Then 186 to 195, it's 3 hiqqa plus bintu labun. Then 196 to 200, it's 4 hiqqa.
Ahsant. And then every 50 you carry on in the same way you went from 150. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll go over revision, Baqar and Ghanam. Inshallah, today I just want to take one mas'ala and start you off. So what they now mention is they want to wrap up what's regarding Bahimatul An'am. So you find in the Hanafi books of fiqh, they then start speaking about Zakatul Khayl. Khayl is, what's Khayl? Khaybar. Khayl, Khuyul. Huh?
I don't know.
It's about horses.
Horses.
Horses. Ahsan khayl. Zakat al-khuyul. Zakah on horses. Now, all the other madhahib, they say there's no zakah on horses. Here we're talking about if a person is keeping horses. We're not talking about a person who's buying and selling horses that then becomes urud al-tijara. No, we're just talking about a person who's keeping horses. In the Hanafi madhab, Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad ibn al-Hasan, they also agree with the majority of scholars to say there's no zakah when it comes to horses. Imam Abu Hanifa, it's mentioned he has an opinion where he says that there is zakah on horses. And now, because it's something differed upon, he says that when you look at horses, there's a few things. First is, he has one opinion that says if they're only males or they're only females, then you don't give zakah on them because they're not increasing in any way. If they're males only, you can't increase. And if they're females only, you can't increase because they need to be in pairs in order to reproduce. Again, when you go through this mas'ala, just remember, I'm only giving you the slight difference of opinion so you know. Anybody asks you, is generally safe to go with the opinion of everybody else as well as Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad from the Hanafi madhab who said there's no zakah when it comes to horses. Imam Abu Hanifa has an opinion which says there's zakah when it comes to horses. Then he has, what's recorded from him is differing opinions where if there's only males, is there zakah or not? Some say he said there's no zakah. And if there's only females, he said there's no zakah. But when does a person pay zakah? He pays zakah if he has a mix between male and female, and there's no there's no thresholds like how we took when we were taking ibil and baqar and ghanam. So zakatul khayl, there's no threshold, so there's nothing to say like when you reach 5 horses then give. No, he says that either a person gives for every horse he has a dinar, which is a gold coin. Okay, so can you see he has a choice? So if a person has 10 horses, he's going to give 10 dinars, or he takes the value of these horses. He takes, so let's say his horses are worth, and he gives in silver, he takes, let's say 200 dirhams. So he says for every 200 dirhams, you'll give 5 dirhams. For every 200 dirhams, you'll give 5 dirhams, i.e. you'll be giving 2.5% in its value. Did you understand or you didn't understand? If you understood, repeat what I said. Naeem, what did you understand?
Sheikh, so from the top, you said zakat on horses, there's a difference of opinion, but the majority say there's no zakat.
There's a difference of opinion in the Hanafi madhab also. Yes, carry on, difference of opinion, carry on.
If the horses are only one gender, no zakat. If there's mixed males and females, then you pay zakat. There's no particular threshold. So
Yes,
there's
so-
every horse, you pay 1 gold coin, or
Yes.
2, you pay 2.5% of the value of the horse.
Yeah, so if he has here 1 khayl and he's paying gold coins, how many gold coins will he pay Khaybar according to Imam Abu Hanifa?
1.
1. And if he has 10 horses, what's he going to pay, Omar? Omar, if he has 10 horses, what's he going to pay if he's paying in gold coins? Your mic is off.
10?
He's going to pay 10. Oh yeah, he's going to pay 10. And if he has 100, he's going to pay 100 gold coins. So that, or he has another option where he can pay. He has another option where he takes the value of these horses. So let's say horse number 1. I'm just going to put a 1 here. In fact, let's put A, B, and C because we're speaking about numbers here. So if we said horse A is equivalent to 50 dirhams. Okay, dirham is a silver coin, dinar is a gold coin. Okay, and horse B is equal to 70 silver coins. Okay, and horse C is equal to 70 plus 50 is 120, is equal to 80 and dirhams. 70 plus 50 plus 80 is 200, correct? Naeem, our mathematician.
Yes,
200. Right. So he's saying for every, so here is the guy's got 3 horses. Look here, he's got 3 horses. He's saying either he can choose to pay on every horse 1 dinar, 1 gold coin, or he can take their value and pay for every 200 dirhams he reaches, he will give 5 dirhams, 5 silver coins. What's 5 over 200? Comes up to 1/40th, which is your 2.5%. So even if you have any figure, let's say you're working out your zakah of your money, and you've got 700,499. Just you take that figure, that's your zakah figure, divide by 40, because when you divide by 40, it's 2.5%. If you look here, 5 over 200 is the same as saying 1 over 40. Divide by 40, that's 2.5%. Person might ask, or let me ask you a question. Khaybar. Let's say horse C here is only equivalent to 70, okay? Let's say it's only equivalent to 70. And you're coming short, you're coming up short, you're not coming to 200 dirhams, you're coming up to 190. How much zakah is he going to pay? Or will he pay any zakah or he won't? Or does he have an option to pay or not to pay? I'm not sure.
Not
Huh? What would your guess be?
It's less than 2.5.
It's less than 200 dirhams. So what's your guess?
Less than 2.5% for now.
Tayyib, Naeem, what do you think?
I still think he has to pay 2.5%, Sheikh. I'm not sure how it makes sense, but I think he would still have to pay.
Ibrahim, do you have an answer?
Assuming that it's a mix of male and female, then I say that he does have to give zakat.
Yeah, but what does he give?
He gives them.
If he,
food.
for those of you who said 200, he say, Tayyib, let me bring a Hanafi book according to the opinion where you have to give zakah. He says, can you see it only says that if I reach 200 dirhams, i.e. he'll be arguing to say that this is my threshold of 200 dirhams, I have to pay 5 dirhams. If I don't reach that, there's nothing mentioned there. طيب عالم غير.
It's complicated.
What do you think?
Something has to be paid.
What if he says, no, I haven't reached 200? It's like like 1 to 4 when it comes to camels. No answer?
Sheikh, if we are paying 1 dinar for 1 khil and 10 for 10, right now we have 3 horses, so we must be paying something.
So we must force him to pay 3 dinars.
I think so.
I would have, to be honest, to be very honest, as I was teaching now, I'm only thinking of the question. If a person had to say, let's try and look at what's fair. If you guys have any other Hanafi mashayikh, you must ask them this question. I want to know what they say. But generally what they'll tell you when you're doing a taqweem, even when it comes to gold and silver, even the Hanafi books and other books, they'll say, ننظر إلى ما هو أحظ للفقراء. We'll look at what is more of more benefit to the poor people. And that's especially, so they'll give you the example later on, where if a person got a mix of dinars, gold coins, and silver coins, and he's not, according to the nisab of gold coins, if he had to convert these ones to gold coins, he would pay less, and if he had to convert everything to silver, he would pay more. What does he pay? What does he pay? And that question also then arises when you're looking at nisab, is a person zakatable or not? You'll find some scholars who'll say that when we're using paper money today, they'll say that originally we have to look at the nisab of gold and silver. Then they'll say that because the nisab of silver is much less, as I told you, nisab of silver, if a person has roughly about $100, zakah would be compulsory upon them if you equating it in silver. But if you're looking at the nisab in gold, it's close on to about, it's above $5,000. So look at the difference between 200 and 5,000. So some of the scholars will say, no, we'll take this nisab of 200. Personally, if you had to go on that rule, if you had to go with that rule, you would make this person pay a zakah. You would tell him that here, if you want to equate it into silver, you're not going to pay. But we want to look at what's more beneficial for the poor people, and that means taking zakah from you, so we'll take from gold. The only problem I would find is, mind you, I've given you a hypothetical example. I don't think you're going to get a horse for 50 silver coins, 50 dirhams. I think if you had to work out proper values, these horses will have higher values. Hence, what will then happen is, even if he's giving a dinar a horse, it should work out. Even if he's giving a dinar a horse, it should work out? This, I gave you a hypothetical example. There's no chance, just think of it logically. There's no chance a person's going to own 3 horses at the value of about $100. I don't think it's possible. But what I was going to say, let's say hypothetically, if this was possible, it would be unfair for the guy to pay 3 dinars on these horses, which are only worth so much. But I think if you had to put this example into reality, you would find that it's not possible to have these values. So cutting a long story short, we'll tell the guy, okay, according to the Imam of the Madhab, here you may not be legible, but we'll still take one from you here. So where else can you imagine this mas'ala? Let me give you a more realistic example. Let's say a person has 1 horse. This horse is horse A, okay? And it's equivalent to 190 dirhams. Okay, 190 dirhams, about $200 maybe can come. So here, if this guy had to say that, you know what, I don't want to pay zakah because I haven't reached 200, we'll say, hold on a second, we want to look at what's more beneficial for the poor people. So yes, if you're going according to silver, you're not paying zakah, but if you're going according to gold, you must pay one dinar. You understand? Understood? Naim, Khaybar, Alam Gheer, Ibrahim, understood or no?
So it would be better to pay the 190 because it would
No,
give more.
he'll argue with you. He'll tell you that my threshold, if I am equating it into silver, is 200. Okay, he's telling you. Let's say the Imam sent you. You are in charge of collecting zakah on horses, and you're in a country where they're following the opinion of the Imam of the Madhab, and you go to this guy's farm and you tell him, you know what, you've got a horse here, and it's equivalent. You've got a horse here. You've got to pay zakah. Give me 1 dinar because you've seen 1 horse. Okay. And this guy says, no, hold on a second. My horse is equivalent to 190 silver coins. What would you tell him? You would tell him, we're going to go according to what's more beneficial for the poor people. Hence, we're going to take 1 dinar from you. Tayyib, Naim, a trick question. Is what I've said, is it correct so far or not?
Sheikh, you're confusing me.
Why? It's simple.
I think it's correct. It makes sense.
Wait, what did I tell
If
you at
one-
the beginning of the chapter?
Yeah, you said that. 1 second.
Sheikh,
Didn't I
but
tell
1
you?
dinar is still,
Huh?
Sheikh, 1 dinar would be still a very little amount. Why not more than 1 dinar?
No, that's ijtihad in the madhab. 1 dinar.
I'm saying like with 3 horses, when he has ABC 3,
You give
and
3 dinars.
yeah,
Or if they're equivalent to 200 dirhams, you'll take out 5 dirhams.
so I'm saying when they are 190 dirham, still
When
he
his
should be
horse is
paying more than-
equivalent to 190 dirhams, he's going to tell you 1 horse. I said he only has 1 horse equivalent to 190 dirhams. Ignore this. Come here. Here's
Okay.
this horse.
Yeah,
So he's telling you my horse is only equivalent to 190. And I don't want to pay because I haven't reached 200. Because the Hanafi book, if you open it, it says that he must give for every 200 dirhams, 5 dirhams. What do you tell him?
Sheikh, then I would tell him to definitely pay at least 1 dinar because he has at least a horse.
Okay. This example can work if you've got more than 1 horse. You know, when we were in Medina, our Sheikh would ask us questions like this, complicated questions. And even if you were giving the wrong answer, he would go with us. He would listen. Then he would ask the next guy, what's your opinion? Listen. Then he would ask the next guy, what's your opinion? Listen. make all the students think, and you know, they have those, they call them brain teasers, and you when you're confused and you don't know the answer, then eventually you would tell us that, okay, go look for the answer, I'm going to ask you tomorrow, or at times most of the time he would give us the answer. We said at the beginning of the chapter, and that's why you have to pay attention, that if, and Naeem, after you summarize, you said if there's only one gender, he's not going to pay zakah. So if you have one horse, well, how many genders do you have?
2, Sheikh.
If you have one,
Oh, 1.
you have one horse, it's either going to be a male or it's either going to be a female. So is he going to pay zakah or he's not? Or are you going to go according to the differences of opinion in the Hanafi madhab itself, to say sometimes they said if they're only males then pay, and sometimes they said if they're only females then pay, and sometimes they said if there's no male and no female, pay. What I want to get at is, can you see so many times we go through different masail, and at times the madhab itself and the imam himself, and this happens in all the madhab, he may have an opinion and a second opinion and a third opinion and a fifth opinion when it comes to the same mas'ala. So let me summarize again for you guys. If zakatul khayl, somebody asks you, should I pay zakah on horses? You can tell them the majority of scholars, they say that you don't pay zakah on horses. As for Imam Abu Hanifa, he has an opinion that there's zakah on horses. Then so you say there's a riwayat. Riwayat means they've recorded him having given different opinions. So you say he has an opinion where if the horses are of one gender only, there's no zakah. He has an opinion where even if they're of one gender only, you pay zakah. And then you then give the different scenarios. So you say, like, if they're of one gender only, then you wouldn't pay zakah on one horse. 2 and more you would pay. And obviously you would look at the conditions of them being sa'imatul hawli, where they grazing half the year or more in nature from what Allah has provided. Then you go on to mention the 2 opinions, the 2 choices that he's given the person. Let's say a person now has 5 horses. Okay, you can say that he has an opinion. His opinion is on those horses which are zakatable, you're either going to give 1 dinar per horse, or you're going to look at the value of these horses, equate them to dirhams, and then for every 200 dirhams, you are going to give 5 dirhams in zakah. Understood? Inshallah, we'll go over it again tomorrow. I'll ask you again. But it's simple. It's very simple. Look, I draw for you. Zakatul khayl, okay? The majority of scholars said no zakah. Imam Abu Hanifa said there's zakah. Okay? Then there's different riwayat in the madhab as to when will the guy pay zakah, okay? On horses. If they're only male, right? There's an opinion that says he mustn't pay. And if they're only female, and if they only male, there's an opinion that says he must pay. And if they only female, an opinion that says he mustn't pay. Why I'm telling you all this? Because if you're going to open about 4 different Hanafi books, you'll find some of them go with, when mentioning this, then they're going to mention his opinion here. And some of them will mention this opinion. And some of them will mention all the opinions and choose between the 2. Can you see? And then this here, we can agree on the last section, where if he's got male and female, definitely he's going to pay zakah, okay? And then he says that, how do you pay zakah? I give you 2 choices. Either for every horse, you give 1 dinar, or look at the value of these horses. So if the horses are equivalent, you've calculated all your horses and they're equivalent to 1,000 dirhams. 1,000 dirhams. Then he says, for every 200, you pay 5. So 1,000 divided by 200 is 5. And then 5 times 5 is 25. So this person here will pay 25. Can you see? Can you see? Now, I ask you another question. Now imagine you're going through a mas'ala in fiqh, okay? This is your mas'ala. And this is why fiqh is so important, especially when you're starting out, to learn one madhab first. Imagine you have that mas'ala. Then you come here to the Hanafi madhab, and you find in the Hanafi madhab there's 3 different opinions, at least. And then you find the Shafi'i madhab, and they also have 2 different opinions, yeah. And then you find the Maliki madhab, and they have 4 different opinions. Same mas'ala we're talking about. And it's possible. And then you find the Hanbali madhab, and they have another 3 different opinions. And then you might find another imam who may have had a differing opinion to all these madhahib. Let's just put him as X. And he's got an opinion. And everybody, and this we're only talking about one masala, we're talking about this masala. Sometimes they agree amongst themselves, sometimes they don't agree. And then everybody has the ayah or their hadith. At times they're all using the same hadith, but they're looking at it from different angles. At times this guy has a piece of evidence, and this one says, no, I disagree with your piece of evidence, and refutes. And this guy refutes back again to support his claim. And then this one here is differing with the both of them. That's why when you learn, if you're going to learn fiqh, some people, they start like this. They start trying to learn every mas'ala and learning everything like this. There's no chance he's going to learn. There's no chance the guy is going to know his fiqh inside out. If you had to start off here, you understand it properly. And at times in the madhab, there may be a few masail where you need to know the difference of opinion. Not every mas'ala you need to know. Then after you've built this solid and you know it, then come with this piece of knowledge you know, and come and tackle this madhab. Okay, so now you're able to relate. You know what the masail look like. You know the meaning of the masail. And then you look at this madhab and you say, okay, where do they differ? Where do they agree? Where do they differ? Where do they agree? Where do they? So this is your foundation. Then you added these aqwal. Then you come to fiqh the 3rd time, and you go to this madhab. And then you see how they differ here, and where they agree and where they disagree. And it can take you quite a few years to master and go through this. Then you come to this next one. So after a long time, you'll find that you'll be able to master all these madhahib. And it's normal to forget. You go over a masala and you forget, and you go over masala and you forget, and you go over masala and you forget. Meaning you've been over it, and then years later you forget. Or you then think of a masala and you can't find it. It happens. So yeah, I hope you guys understand and appreciate how vast fiqh is and how much time you need to put in and how you need to learn it. Because what will happen then, if you don't learn this properly without you don't learn it such that you no longer need your notes, what's going to happen now when you come to this opinion here and this opinion here? Then you can say, okay, let me check my notes. But then you're going to say, wait, but this is the Hanafi method, but then this is the Shafi method. Then how are you going to mix with this one and this one? And learn this one properly first. Or if you're starting with the Shafi method, learn it properly first. If you're starting with this one, learn it properly first. Or this one, start and learn it first. Any questions? When it comes to what we've taken, when it comes to fiqh in general. No questions? Will confuse you? Let's go over a little bit of Arabic. I want to just go through this book so we can.
I have a question, but I think it'll be answered later on.
Okay, I'll answer it later on, inshallah. No problem. Let's try and move when it comes to this book here. I'm sure this is where we reached. We did this definitely. قلم غال, I remember that. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. العربية بين يديك, book 1b. Stopped here at ملخص التراكيب. As you know, as you're aware, at the end of the module, they give you a small summary of some of the sentence structure. They teach you how to build sentences as well as some of the vocab. So here they're teaching you hal ladayka. Hal, you're asking somebody. And hal, you generally answer with a yes or no, na'am or la. He's asking hal ladayka for a man, masculine. Do you have maktabah, a library, sa'a, qalam, mu'jam? Mu'jam is a dictionary. And if you're asking a lady, hal ladayki, hal ladayki. And how do you ask how long you took to do something? Kam sa'atan taqra'u fil yawm. How long do you read in a day? Then, so can you see which ones change? You're only changing the verb here. You only change the verb here. Then you got ladayya. That's how you respond to this one. Hal ladayka, do you have? Then you say ladayya, I have. I think now you guys are getting the hang. When speaking about you, masculine is ka at the end, feminine is ki, and the person speaking about themselves, they use ya, ladayya, maktabatun kabiratun sa'atun jamilatun, etc. And it says aqra'u, saying I'm doing something. This is in the present future tense. أقرأ 3 ساعات تقريبا. أنام أعمل أدرس. Can you see how they've put this hamza at the beginning to show that I am doing something? Again, here you're asking questions, but this in the past tense. هل زرت? Did you visit? هل شربت? هل أكلت? هل سمعت? Then this guy is answering in the negative to say ما زرته. I didn't do that. ما شربتها. I didn't drink that. Then you learned how to say هذا and هذه. Notice how if the word is feminine, هذه, word is masculine, هذا. Again, هذا. And then هوايتي, the person is speaking about saying my hobby. Then أي, which is like which one. أي فاكهة تأكل, which fruit do you eat? And if you're speaking to feminine, تأكلين. So that's what you took in the whole module. And this is like the summary of the module. After that, you've got a reading exercise differentiating between sheen and seen. So shadda, sadda, ashara, asara, jarasha, jara, sa. You've got some ayat, and then the module should end. Then you've got a listening exercise, and these come on the tape. Anybody, any of you got to the tapes or no? Anybody download the tapes? No. Generally, if you go over what's mentioned, the tapes are added listening. And if you go over what's already written, inshallah, you shouldn't need them. There's no doubt it's better to go over. It's extra knowledge. But inshallah, you should be fine. Then they come to تبادل السؤال والجواب مع زميلك كما في المثال. Exchange question and answers with your companions, with your mates, as in the example. So they give an example of قراءة and سفر. It says هوايتي القراءة. So you've got somebody saying, my hobby is this, the first thing, هوايتي القراءة. Then he's asking the person in front of him, ما هوايتك? What's your hobby? And says هوايتي السفر. It's the second guy. They see there. طيب خيبر. Let's start the first one. طيب نعيم.
Sorry, Sheikh, I didn't hear you there.
I said you can start. Yeah, you can start with the first exercise, first example.
Okay.
So they've taught you need to use this sentence with these new words. I'll give you an example. Okay, first one. I'm speaking. I say hiwayati al-murasala. My hobby. Murasala is when you're sending letters, etc. And then he asks, ma hiwayatuka? Or I'm asking you, what's your hobby? And then you reply, hiwayati al-furusiyah. Equestrian, horse riding. Next one. Naeem.
Hiwayati.
Hiwayati is plural.
Hiwayati. الرياضة. ما هواياتك?
Hiwayatuka. Don't pull this ya. Don't say yatuka. Say yatuka.
هوايتك صح. هواياتي رحلة.
الرحلات.
صح. الرحلات. So my hobby is traveling.
Yeah, you could say going on journeys. Yeah, they've given you a picture of somebody hiking. رياضة is sport. طيب, next one. نعيمة, عالم غير.
I think Alam Khair went out, Sheikh.
طيب, you carry on.
هوايتي جمع طوابعي.
Why جمع? جمعه. There's nothing to make it منصوب. هوايتي جمع الطوابع.
صح. ما هوايتك? So what is that, Sheikh?
Stamp collection. And you
Something.
see, these are all stamps. In the olden days, up to recently, you had to mail your letters and you put stamps on them. Now everybody sends an email. طيب, next.
هواياتي الصحافة, and that's journalism. So my
Journalism, newspaper, etc. طيب, Umar from India, give it a try.
هوايتي تدبير المنزل. ما هوايتك؟ هوايتي الحاسوب.
الحاسوب. ألف لام. ألف لام is no tanween.
الحاسوب. My hobby is homekeeping or housekeeping. And the second one says my hobby is computers.
أحسن, carry on.
هوايتي السباحة. ما هوايتك؟ هوايتي كرة القدم. My hobby is swimming. What is your hobby? My hobby is football.
أحسن, next one.
هوايتي القراءة. ما هوايتك؟ هوايتي الخط. My hobby is reading. What is your hobby? My hobby is writing.
Calligraphy.
Calligraphy.
أحسنت. أحسنت. طيب, next one says تبادل السؤال والجواب مع زميلك كما في المثال. Again, you're asking question and answers as in the question. So, Sheikh Saeed, do you want to try? طيب, Ibrahim.
I'll try, even though I don't understand much.
Yeah, it's all right. Try. It says أي جمعية تختار؟ أختار جمعية العلوم. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟ أختار جمعية الصحافة. جمعية has many different meanings. Usually when you're in a university and you've got colleges in the university, they call them كلية. Jamia is like a learning center, educational center, you could say. This person asking like, which center are you going to choose? I to go to and learn. This is أختار جمعية العلوم. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟ أختار جمعية الصحافة. See, one guy is going more into science and biology and that type of thing. And this guy says, I'm going to choose going into, we could just call it journalism for now. طيب, let Naeem start with a few and then you can try. Naeem?
Yes, Sheikh, should I start with?
Yeah, start with this one. الثقافة الإسلامية.
إسلامية. Okay.
أي جمعية تختار؟
أي جمعية تختار؟
طيب, let me ask you, it's easier. أي جمعية تختار؟
أختار جمعية ثقافة الإسلامية. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟
أختار جمعية الخط العربي. طيب, next one. أي جمعية تختار نعيم؟
أختار جمعية العلوم.
جمعية أختار جمعية مفعول به منصوب.
جمعية العلوم. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟
أي جمعية تختار؟ أختار جمعية الصحافة. Next one. أي جمعية تختار يا نعيم؟
أختار جمعية رحلات. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟
أختار جمعية السفر. طيب إبراهيم, you understood the concept?
Not really.
علم غير, are you back? طيب عمر معنا.
ماشي. أي جميع تختار؟
أختار
أختار.
جمعية الحاسوب. أحسن. طيب answer all of them. Let's go.
أختار الجميع الحاسوب.
Look, أختار is فعلا فاعل. جمعية is مفعول به منصوب. نحو grammar. And they've given them to you here.
أختار الحاسوب
It says أختار جمعية الحاسوب. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟ أختار جمعية التدبير المنزلي. You understood? You're just taking exactly what's here and you're just changing the profession or the place they're going to.
أختار الجميع الحاسوب.
أختار, there's no alif lam here. not أختار الجمعية. أختار جمعية.
أختار جمعية أختار
التدبير المنزلي.
جمعية.
أحسنت. I know you guys are still on book 1, but no harm in trying. And here it's good, you're learning. It's fine. طيب Naeem, carry on, finish fast.
Are you going to ask شيء؟
أي جمعية تختار؟
اختار جمعية القراءة. أي جمعية تختار؟
وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟ أختار جمعية الرياضيات. رياضيات is mathematics. طيب last one, أي جمعية تختار؟
اختار جمعية اللغة العربية. وأنت أي جمعية تختار؟
جمعية تكسر. أختار جمعية التمريض. تمريض is where a person learns how to become a nurse. For those of you on book 1, what I just want you to notice is look at how here's a verb. To choose is a verb. When you're asking the person, you choosing تختار with a ta, and the person wants to say, I chose his أختار. So look, ألف and ta. And if you're speaking about him, is يختار. وربك يخلق ما يشاء ويختار. Inshallah, we'll stop here after giving you many masail when it came to the Hanafi madhab in horses. Umar, if somebody had to ask you, it says, I got 10 horses at home. Should I pay zakah or shouldn't I pay zakah? What will you tell him?
I'll ask him question that
He's asking you, he's asking you, and he only wants to hear one answer. He's okay, let's say a Maliki or a Shafi or a Hanbali asks you a question. He says that, I have horses, do I pay zakah on them or not? What will you say?
I'll go with the majority. I'll go with the majority that
It's the answer. No, the answer is yes or no. It says that somebody comes to you and he says that I have 100 horses. Do I give zakah on them or not? What will you say?
I would say no, according to the majority of scholars.
Tayyib Ibrahim.
You mentioned they were Maliki Shafi, right?
Malik, let's say Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad ibn al-Hassan, their opinion is no zakah, okay? So if somebody asks you and says, I have 100 horses, do I pay zakah or I don't pay zakah? Which two opinions, what will you tell him? You'll say that according to the majority of scholars, there's no zakah. Huh?
I'd tell them to pay.
Naeem. Naeem.
Sheikh, I would say that he has to pay zakah.
Attention to detail. First question you ask him, there's a few questions you need to ask him. First is, Are you dealing in horses? Are you buying and selling horses? If he's buying and selling horses, then he pays zakah according to everybody because it becomes urud al-tijara, becomes stock, his business. So you go to his business, he's got a big farm and he's just got horses for sale and they're breeding horses and saying that here, this guy comes and he pays like a horse auction, for example. Every day selling and selling and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling. Here he's going to pay zakah, zakat urud al-tijara. And you take it. Okay, he's not doing that. He's keeping horses for himself. What's the next question you ask in name? Let's say he says that I am following the opinion of Imam Abu Hanifa. Do I pay zakah or I don't pay zakah? What do you tell him?
So the question you'd ask, are they mixed between male and female?
Before that.
The horses are gender.
Horses, camels, cows, sheep. I told you there's a rule for them all, and also applies here.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so look.
I'll answer, Sheikh.
What's the answer?
I'll ask them if they're grazing on the natural.
If they're grazing,
thing.
are you buying food for them or are they grazing in nature? And if the guy says I'm buying food for them, what do you say? He says I'm buying food for them the whole year. No zakah, according to everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just need to remember. I'm only asking you these questions just to make you guys think. Next time somebody asks you, you thinking of a mas'ala, you know that hold on, I have to cover all these different angles before I get to this. So the same goats, cows, camels. You first ask the questions that apply to the whole chapter. Then you get into the small nitty-gritties of how much is actually going to pay bint labun or bint makhad, etc. You have to see are the main conditions in this chapter, are they applicable to him or not? Any questions in zakah that we took or in Arabic? Naeem, or something else? Tell me.
So
first, what to do with the lesson? Yeah.
Yeah, well, me to do with the lesson as well. Sheikh, if you were to give an answer to a person asking if they were to pay zakat, what would be your answer? Would you, obviously, let's say they meet all the prerequisites, would you give a madhab opinion or would you give your own ijtihadi opinion?
Now what you've got to realize is that when you read through the books of fiqh, you then find the scholar who's written the book, like Hanafi madhab, this mas'ala specifically, for example. There's some of the books that choose the opinion of the imam to say there is zakah. And there's some of the books who choose the opinion of the sahiban, of Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad, say there's no zakah. Each one claiming to be saying this is the right opinion or this is the madhab. One claiming that you pay zakah is the madhab because the imam of the madhab said it, hence he's right. And others saying no, you don't pay zakah because the other two said you don't pay zakah. There's a hadith in Sahih Muslim. What we're learning here is fiqh, and fatwa, or the application of fiqh, is a subject which is slightly different. I'm not saying you change fully. What I'm saying is you would look the place you're in, the person you're giving your fatwa to, etc. If someone had to ask me, I would tell them you don't pay zakah. Generally, what you're going to find, anybody who's keeping horses, well, most people who are keeping horses and that, they feed their horses. Generally, they feed their horses, they look after their horses. And a lot of people who keep animals, whether it's camels or cows or goats, most of them, especially big farms where you've got cattle ranches or cattle farming, goat farming, camel farming, because of the magnitude of these farms, what's generally on the land is not enough for them to graze. So you find them having to feed them every day so they can keep them in that environment, so they're able to have as much meat or as much milk as possible so they can carry on selling and providing for everybody. Alam Gheer, question with the lesson or without the lesson?
Yes, Sheikh. The
out of
first
the lesson.
question is about the lesson. In the previous lesson, we learned about, and I have a question about how do you use the yantadir? For example, كم
How do you
ساعة
use the?
the word ينتظر كم
Yeah.
ساعة ينتظر في اليوم? Is it أنتظر or ينتظر?
أنتظر ألف with a fatha. The minute you get into
أنتظر.
in is like Hamzatul Wasl, where you speak about an order. Generally, it's always أنتظر أفعل أذهب أسجد أسمع Huh? Right. If you got a question out of the lesson, wait. Anyone, what we've taken so far? Most of the Hanafi books, you'll find that after this, there's just a few miscellaneous masail that we'll take, inshallah, in 2-3 days. It will take us 2-3 days to cover them. After that, they mostly go on to zakah on gold and silver, and that would include your paper money. Other madhahib, they go on to zurur wa thimar. We'll see, we probably go into zurur wa thimar, finish it off, because you probably take quite a long time in gold and silver and stock. Inshallah.